What's going on, guys? It's Pokemon Trainer Mikey here with another Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Wi-Fi battle, this time showcasing a brand new team. As I do, if you're new to this channel, I tend to change things up a bit and I don't really battle consistently with the same teams. I kind of just randomly pick whatever I have in my box. So I have a Choice Specs, Heatran, Ferret, Jirachi, Cloyster, Scizor, and Miss Magius, or Miss Magius. I say potato, you say tomato, whatever works. My opponent has some pretty cool mons like that DRIFBLIM and Miltank amongst the other OU threats, so it should be a cool battle. Judging by his team, I'm definitely going to want to set up those Stealth Rocks that I have with my Jirachi just to break the Multiscale and Dragonite, and also just chip away at his other threatening mons like DRIFBLIM and Milotic. Anyway, so my opponent is going to lead with their blue nips. So we just have 4 blue nips dancing in my face. Honestly, take a second, just rewind the video and look at the 4 udders just flapping around. Honestly, I had to retake this video several times because I was laughing hysterically. I have the maturity of a 12-year-old. Anyway, I lead with my Ferret, and I'm just going to go for a Choice Banded U-turn, and I'm going to go right out into my Jirachi because I am anticipating the Stealth Rocks, and I do predict that correctly. So now I'm just saying, hey, it's a good time for me to set up Stealth Rocks back and even the playing field here a bit, and because this thing really can't hurt me. Now he could switch here if he wants, or he could just be annoying and do what Miltanks do best, go for the Thunder Wave, start doing some other crap, and that's exactly what this Miltank is doing. It's going to set up the Thunder Wave and get the paralysis on my Jirachi, which does suck, as you will see. Now for the next turn, I decide, you know what, I have to attack obviously, but I didn't really want to go for the Psychic because he has a Tyranitar sitting in the back somewhere, and I just thought, you know what, it would be a safer bet to go for Flash Cannon, just in case he does bring in, or they bring in Tyranitar. I would get super effective damage with Flash Cannon, but they go out into the DRIFBLIM, and it's still fine. I get neutral damage regardless, and it's still stab, and it doesn't do a whole lot, and DRIFBLIM has terrible defenses, but has a lot of HP. Also, this Jirachi is not invested fully in special attack, so I kind of still was surprised that it did so little, but it is what it is. And this is where I start making mistakes. Now, mind you, I do face this opponent twice in this video, so it is kind of just learning and kind of understanding how my team is working and how this opponent operates. But this was a pretty bad mistake, as you'll see. Now, they start setting up Calm Mind, and I decide, you know what, I could go for the Sucker Punch. And I'm so mad that I did because you can tell it took me so long to decide to do that, and it was just such a terrible move because DRIFBLIM goes for the Strength Sap. Honestly, I completely blanked out on what DRIFBLIM is capable of doing, and now I'm locked into Sucker Punch. And clearly, as you can tell, this is a terrible scenario because now he can just continue to set up Calm Mind after Calm Mind after Calm Mind. So I have to pivot. And I didn't really have a good switch. This team is just not, like I said, I kind of just like pick my Pokemon out of a hat and I see if they can work, and this just happened to be something that was like, oh, okay, it could work. So I didn't want to bring in Miss Magius just yet, just in case he started to attack, and I didn't want to bring in Cloyster yet, so I just decided, you know what, Heatran isn't a terrible move, because I am Specs and I have full investment in special attack. So I go for Flamethrower and it does nothing. So I'm in a terrible position right now. So I'm just going to fast forward me clicking Flamethrower a bunch of times like a noob, and we're going to get to the point in the battle where it actually gets good. But also at the same time, real quick, if you don't know much about DRIFBLIM and their hidden ability, Flare Boost is a thing. If you don't know what Flare Boost is, it is the equivalent of Guts, but with special attack. So if this thing gets burned, its special attack is raised. So do I know that this thing has Flare Boost? No, because typically DRIFBLIMs can carry the Flame Orb to activate Flare Boost, but at the same time, I am doing a huge gamble with this, and like I said, it was just really, really bad. So with Heatran down, I have to think fast on my feet now. I really was hoping that I would keep Heatran around more because, quite honestly, Choice Specs Heatran does take people for a surprise, but I just was playing pretty sloppy there. So I bring in Scizor, I go for the Bullet Punch, and I'm kind of surprised that this thing is just hanging on, and I mean, its defenses are just quite literal trash, but this thing could just be invested heavily in defense or HP. So either way, the bullet punch takes it down to a slither, and the burn's going to knock it out. So I do take care of the DRIFBLIM, but at the expense of taking out two pretty pivotal Pokemon, which really does suck. So he's going to bring in his Melodic right now, and I go for the Ferret. So interesting matchup. I do frisk out the Flame Orb, which is again to be expected to activate that Marvel Scale. And I'm just going to go ahead and click Double Edge. I have nothing else to lose. I really don't want to have to bring in anything else. There really is nothing else I can bring in, so I'm just going to click Double Edge, see what happens, hope for the best, and Double Edge does a ton of damage. And I mean, considering this is a Ferret, but that's why they call this thing like a silent killer. I mean, Ferret is like GOAT status, but with the Flame Orb activating the Marvel Scale and Melodic having a defense boost, Double Edge is not going to take it out, which really, really blows. I mean, I thought that I would get away with just a little bit more damage, but that's not the case. And I can't do anything here. I mean, I'm just going to keep damaging myself. So I have to switch, and I'm going to bring in my Cloyster now because this Melodic really can't do much to me. It's just going to stall me out and recover and wither away my own health. So now is the time to start Shell Smashing. And I'm okay with that because there's nothing that my opponent can bring in that would scare me. So I'm gonna go for the Shell Smash, and they're gonna go out into Dragonite. Now with with the Stealth Rocks, this is what I was talking about. I needed those Stealth Rocks. They were absolutely integral to winning this match, or even not so much winning, but doing well in this match. I needed to take care of that Dragonite. So I'm just going to go ahead and Icicle Spear. I should be faster, but then again, this thing does have extreme speed. And with the drop in defense, Cloyster is still bulky enough to take that. I go for the Icicle Spear. It takes out the Dragonite, so we are kind of slowly... we're getting back to where we need to be in terms of momentum. And, you know, with DRIFBLIM down and this Dragonite down, we're kind of coming back here. So it's going to be an uphill battle for sure, but it's worth a shot. So they bring in their Blue Udders, and I'm just going to click Icicle Spear. It's the only thing that I can do. It's the only stab move that's not really useless, and I get to hit it 5 times with it. So we're going to see how much damage this does. I mean, it's really, for a Shell Smash boost, doing nothing. Miltank is so bulky, and this is where I start really getting nervous. I mean, I was nervous from the beginning because I was just playing so stupid with the DRIFBLIM, but now he's going to paralyze me, and this really sucks because now I have to dance around the fact that I'm paralyzed, and I might get paralyzed if I'm trying to knock out his Pokemon. Whatever, we're still going to be strong-handed here and go for another Icicle Spear. I managed to break through, and let's see, does it kill? Yes, nope. Yes, it does. There we go. They got a little ahead of myself. 5 hits, it does kill. So Miltank is done. DRIFBLIM is done, and Dragonite's done. So we got 3 more left, and now they're going to bring in Melodic, and again, this thing can't kill me in 1 hit, but I can start withering it down. I go for Rock Blast. It does, again, really nothing to it. I mean, Icicle Spear won't do a lot, but again, a sizable chunk. My opponent seems to like Light Screen. Not really sure why, but that's what they're doing here. They could Scald me, they could Ice Beam me, and really wouldn't do a whole lot, but I go for Rock Blast. Rock Blast is going to take it down, and Cloyster really, truthfully, is carrying this team. That's 3 Pokemon now that it has managed to single-handedly destroy, and you have 2 of them being bulky threats. So now my opponent brings in their Tyranitar, activates the Sandstream. I'm just going to hope that this Icicle Spear breaks through, and I get the paralysis there. Oh my gosh, had I just broken through and got the Icicle Spear, things probably would have been so much easier for me. But I was due. Quite honestly, yeah, I have to say that I was due for some sort of hacks. Sucks, but that's the game. Now, looking at my options, to be quite honest, I am fucked. Jirachi cannot outspeed this Tyranitar, I don't think. And Miss Magus, I cannot pronounce this Pokemon. will not kill it in one hit, so there's nothing to do there. Ferret can get a U-turn and it'll do a good amount of damage, but it's, again, like this Tyranitar will take me down. So I bring in Jirachi. I'm going to go for the Flash Cannon, see what happens. I know Tyranitar has a very low base speed, so even with being paralyzed, I was kind of hoping that I might outspeed. It's not the case. Tyranitar is going to be faster. They're going to Dragon Dance here. Talk about putting salt in a wound. And I get Parahaxed. Oh my gosh. So between the Icicle Spear failing on me and now the Flash Cannon failing on me, this, oh my gosh, I really feel like that could have been a difference because I could have just sent Ferret in and gone for like a U-turn to clean it up. But damn, that really, really sucks. So I'm just going to go into Miss Magius now. I mean, there's nothing I can do here. You know, Mystical Fire won't do anything. Shadow Ball won't do anything. I just decided to go for Will-O-Wisp. I think at this point I'm just kind of messing around. And let's make matters worse. This thing has a Lumberry. And even the Will-O-Wisp doesn't do anything. So good game to Terry. Great team. But I'm not done yet. I definitely do want to rematch, and you know I'm gonna go for U-turn here. Just I'm not gonna forfeit. I don't like to forfeit. U-turn does a lot of damage. This Ferret is freaking strong, but Tyranitar will officially clean me up, and that is a loss for me. No big deal. I don't request Terry. I go into the lobby and I look for another battle because I wanted to use this team, but instead Terry was like, "Yeah, let's battle again." So I decided to just switch up my team here, as you'll see, and I'm going to I'll do a jump cut to that. Alrighty, we are back with a brand new team. I'm using Glaceon, Swampert, and Weavile, oh, and Raikou as well. My opponent did not switch teams. I actually thought they might do it, you know, kind of switch things up. It kind of does suck that I know what their team does consist of and what they can do when I switch my team. But again, I didn't really know what they were doing. They did want to battle me again, so I did accept. I just wanted to switch things up a bit. So I'm excited to utilize something different, and I think I will be a lot smarter going into this battle. Again, I was being a little bit more experimental in the last one, but things should be better moving forward. So my opponent is going to lead off with their Nips, and I'm going to lead out with my Scizor. I wanted to do this just in case they decided to change up their strategy a bit and lead with something else. That's not the case here, so I'm just going to quickly go ahead and U-turn, get some good chip damage, hopefully, and they're faster than me, and they're just going to T-Wave me. So it's already off to an annoying start, but again, Miltank's going to do what Miltank's going to do. This Whitney's Miltank is already pissing me off, so I go for the U-turn. It does a decent amount of damage, and here I'm just deciding, you know, I didn't want to go into Jirachi because I thought it was predictable like the last match, and we're just going to be back, you know, back and forth again, but it was quite honestly the best thing I could do. I have a feeling they're just going to want to set up Stealth Rocks, so I'm going to go ahead and set up Stealth Rocks as well. Very important for that Dragonite, very important for the DRIFBLIM, so going to still stick to the kind of old strategy that I was employing last match. They do set up Stealth Rocks as predicted. This time around, I'm just going to go ahead and click Psychic now that I know what my opponent's team is capable of. I don't think that they would want to go into Tyranitar now that they know I have access to the Flash Cannon. So I think clicking Psychic is a better move, but we'll see. I think that they probably will stick to going into DRIFBLIM and kind of just... It seems like they're already working the same way that they did last match, and I don't want to fall into any traps. So I'd rather just try and get as much damage as possible, hopefully go for, you know, maybe get some special defense drops. Instead, they leave in Miltank, and I get a great hit on the Miltank with the Psychic. I get the drop in special defense, and this Miltank is going to paralyze me, which now I have 2 Pokemon paralyzed. It's only turn 3, turn 2, turn 3, and things are looking very annoying. So I decide to just go ahead and click Flash Cannon in case they decide to switch into Tyranitar, which they do. So this was a really good move, and hopefully I break through. I'm pretty sure this battle was a while ago. I think I do. That's great. And I get a ton of damage there. Never underestimate Jirachi. As cute as Jirachi can be, Jirachi is a threat all around. I do wish it had access to Iron Head and BDSP, but it doesn't. I decide to stay in because I know I'm more heavily invested in, I think, HP on this set, so I know I can take a hit, and I just decided to go for another Flash Cannon and get rid of the Tyranitar. So that's a wrap for Tyranitar. I feel a lot better about that moving forward because that was their heaviest hitter in the last match, so I don't want to have to stumble around. I also didn't want to, I think I said this already, I didn't want to risk, me switching and then going for the Dragon Dance. So that was the thought process there. So now we wait. We'll see what happens. I have a feeling it's going to be DRIFBLIM. Again, this battle was recorded a while ago. It is DRIFBLIM, so I'm just kind of remembering everything now. So, yes, it does make sense that they would bring in DRIFBLIM and, again, kind of take advantage of the spot that I'm in. I am slow in general because this Jirachi Jirachi has decent base speed, but I am paralyzed. And, I'm in a vulnerable spot. I could try and attack them, but why would I want to do that when I know last time they gave me a hard time and started setting up on me? And I really, really want to bring in a physical attacker. I know this thing can calm mind me, but I didn't want to bring in Swampert just yet. I do need to preserve Swampert as much as possible because he does have physical threats. So I decided to bring in Glaceon. So I know I'm kind of falling into that trap again of bringing in a special attacker as they're setting up. However, this special attacker happens to be super effective against this Pokemon. So hopefully I can kind of scare them out into a position where they would want to not continue setting up. So I'm just going to click Ice Beam. I know that I'm Scarfed. I should outspeed. There should be no problem there. It's just a matter of what my opponent wants to do and what they feel comfortable doing. Do they want to continue setting up and to kind of push themselves in that corner, or do they want to make the safe play and switch? Quite honestly, I think if I was in their shoes, I'd probably switch, but sometimes people get greedy, and it's going to look like they stay in. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. Let's see how much it does. It does a lot of damage. They may have the Citrus Berry, that's cool, but another Ice Beam should be able to take it out. I mean, now that they're going to go for another Calm Mind, it might hang on with a tiny sliver, sure, but it's kind of not worth it at this point because the Sandstorm is going to, take it down even more. But, plot twist, this thing actually outspeeds me because it has Unburden, and I didn't even think about it because usually I run Flare Boost on DRIFBLIM. But that's not the case in this match. I was a little partial, because I was like, why the hell is this thing outspeeding a Choice Scarf Glaceon? And why the hell is it going to outspeed my Weavile? Because I go for Throat Chop, thinking that he might switch. He has no reason to switch because he can just Strength Sap me. So I was being a complete moron this match. Again, I just didn't do my research, and it just goes to show you can use DRIFBLIM in a match if used correctly and if used against the right person, aka me, because I just was flopping this entire match, or these past two matches. So that's why this thing is super fast. I have no choice but to Ice Shard here. I do, and I get rid of the annoying DRIFBLIM that just absolutely wrecked me for two matches. But great job to my opponent. My opponent just, I think, understood that I did not understand DRIFBLIM. So they took advantage of that, and good for them. But I have to switch here because I'm at -1 attack, and I'm going up against a soon-to-be Marvel Scale activated Milotic, so I have to switch, and I think I'm going to go into Jirachi just because I want to see what this thing does. It's probably going to go for Scald or something, and honestly, I just bring in Jirachi as Death Fodder, and that's exactly what my opponent does. They're just going to go for the Scald, and Jirachi goes down, so naturally this is a really good window for me to go into my Raikou. Based on what my opponent is working with, I know they have a Nidoking in the back corner. They're not going to want to leave Milotic in and take a Thunderbolt, so they're probably going to switch into something that can resist. So I was expecting the Nidoking here, so I have Scald, I am Specs. It should take out the Nidoking if they do switch. They do. This was a great prediction, and it's going to be a dead Nidoking in 3, 2, 1. There it is. Beautiful. What a good prediction. I was very happy with that. I got the Tyranitar out, I got the Nidoking out, I have the DRIFBLIM out, so now I'm just working with, I think, the Miltank, Milotic, and Dragonite. And this is where I kind of felt the freedom to either switch or stay, and with the multi-scale broken, it does relieve a lot of stress for me. So I can just freely Scald and hope for the burn, just in case he wants to start setting up. I wanted to feel him out, and instead he goes for the Extreme Speed, which I was not expecting whatsoever, just because I had Weavile. So I'm going to switch here into, or not Weavile, Scizor. So I'm going to switch into Scizor now because I don't want to take another Extreme Speed because I can't take it. And he's going to do it again. I eat that up very nicely. I do want to keep Raikou around just because I'm going to need it for the Milotic. And right now I'm just going to go ahead and Bullet Punch. It's the only thing that I can do. Instead, my opponent does switch out into Milotic, which was a good move on their part. Just to resist the Bullet Punch, it's not going to do anything. So now looking at it, the only moves that I can go for are U-turn or defog. I was thinking about going for defog, but I actually do value the stealth rocks in this match because they still have Dragonite around. So that's going to be valuable. I want to get as much chip as possible just from entry hazards. I go for the defog, I get paralyzed. Miltank is coming back to haunt me, which is just really putting a wrench in my evil plan to destroy this guy. So yeah, I'm just going to click U-turn again. Hopefully I can break through. They're going to go for Scald, and I get paralyzed a second time. So things are not looking good right now. I know I could take maybe one or two, probably only one more Scald. Yeah, it's looking like that. So it sucks. I really want to try and pivot, but I actually don't even take the Scald. So Scizor goes down, and it's not a big deal because my Milotic doesn't recover and it gets a lot of burn damage. And now I can just freely go into Raikou and Thunderbolt. Yeah, like despite losing Weavile, I keep saying Weavile, despite losing Scizor, it doesn't matter because I just come in and I can Thunderbolt, and nothing on his side on their side can take the Thunderbolt. So now they can go out into Dragonite. They can freely Extreme Speed me. I don't want to switch out here because if they want to go for Outrage, I don't think Swampert can take two of them. So I just have to sacrifice the Raikou here. It did its job. I got out the Milotic. There's no stalling. There's no recovering. There's none of that. So I go out to Swampert. They can do whatever they want. I'm going to go ahead and click Avalanche. It's going to do more since it'll attack second. They have the Outrage. It does a ton of damage, and that Avalanche is going to completely destroy the Dragonite. So we're in great shape. Now they just have Miltank, and things should be going my way. I should win this match, but I know that Miltank can stall with the Milk Drink, and I have a physical attacker. I have two physical attackers left. That's, you know, it's going to be tough because Miltank is pretty bulky. Regardless, I just have to keep doing my thing and just stay persistent. So Terry shows me the nips, flashes me the blue nips. It's their last Pokemon, and this thing does have Miltank. Unfortunately, it's going to probably stall me out with the Miltank and the leftovers, so I'm just going to fast forward here. I don't really feel like talking through it because if I recall, this was pretty long and painful.